Hello and welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the no bullshit podcast for the outdoor enthusiasts. If you're into hunting, fishing, fine wines and even finer foods, you've come to the right place. So pull up a chair. Anthony Grogan, how are you getting on, lad?
Brennan McGuire, what's happening, buddy?
Look, heaps, man. What's been going on with you?
Yeah, look, it's the same as that, man. Same as that. It's kind of, we've both had, well, you've had a bit more eventful than I had. You've seen, I think, most parts of the country this week, have you?
No, I just seen way too much of one part.
A really long part away.
A really long part of it. Down in what's the place? Bridgetown down in Wexford, down near Rosslare or so. I've been there nearly all week. So
there was one silver lining that which we will speak about.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
And is she sitting on your lap?
No. I didn't. I said no. I didn't. I had it out earlier on. I had a bit of a look at it, and I says I'll take it out now when you're here, and you can get a look at it next time yourself.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. What? How's your week going?
Look, it's going, man. It's going. Yeah, I think it's a turbulent week. I think all around. We just discussed off air a bit of a, what would you say? Bit of a sad news. But yeah, look, it's one of them things, man. I think that happens far too often. A guy I know from school and so on, unfortunately passed away during the week. So condolences to him and his family.
Condolences to the family. Yeah. Very sad.
It's a couple of people now from my class, man. Young girl, Adrian Mooney, died just last year. Kieran Collins, a good mate of mine, the year before that. Yes, just too often, man. Too often.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, terrible fucking sad out there.
Yeah,
and it seems to be a trend up and down the country. It's just heartbreaking. But condolences and sorry for your loss and stuff. Yeah.
What was I going to say? What you were down in the sunny south? Was it sunny down there this week?
Yeah, it was sunny, man. Yeah, I didn't get to see a whole pile of it. It was just kind of flat to the boards. But yeah, I've been down there all week, man. Just one of those weeks. I think I was saying to you, it's what is it, Thursday now, and I think I have 63 or 4 hours done already this week.
Yeah,
I'm over it. I am over it. So if anyone's looking for any company's looking for a machine control engineer, there, give me a shout. No, we're not going that bad.
I know. Just you get weeks like that, don't you?
Definitely, you do. Which look, it's the way it goes.
The one thing I think I think I spoke to you before. The beauty of it is, on 4 o'clock tomorrow, 5 o'clock tomorrow, hopefully you can sign off and forget about it till Monday morning, which is a nice place to be. You just have to get there now first,
Yeah, exactly, man. Honest to God, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. Sinead, that's exactly right. That's enough of that work talk.
Oh,
yeah, you didn't get out for a shot at all. Were you out at all?
No, didn't, man. I've like yourself, I have a few irons going on the fire, so juggling a few balls down here. I've a few things that are supposed to have happened last week, and then I don't know, man. I don't know where this is a common thread or not, but I'm waiting on professionals to sign off on stuff for me, so it's constant, never ending ringing, asking the same fucking question, beating your head off Stonewall, and then for instance, a solicitor, not my solicitor now, but if in case he's listening, a different solicitor who we're waiting on to do something, and that'll be done tomorrow. And then you ring that evening, is that done? No, he was tied up in court all day. He had 5 cases in court. And I was saying, like, surely to God, man, like he knew he was going to represent somebody in fucking court, or 5 of them, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I know, man.
Just
100%.
tell me
Yeah,
not
yeah.
to bother, not to bother ring. Don't ring until fucking Wednesday or Thursday. Then
Yeah,
I won't
yeah.
be like telling somebody else that I'll have that document for them. You know what I'm saying? But anyway,
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying, man. Yeah, yeah.
that's it.
Solicitors and architects. Oh my God, don't even get me started. Don't even
Oh,
get me started. Whole other day. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do now, because we didn't get out. I'm going out shooting tomorrow night.
good man.
110%. I'm bringing out me new infrared, and I'm bringing out my new Creedmoor, man. I'm bringing her out.
Oh,
I'm bringing her out. Yeah. So I'm going out tomorrow night. I don't care. I'm sick of not getting out, so I'm going out tomorrow night.
I'm telling you, man, I am going to be literally. I genuinely, I think you were saying for me, it's undescribable. For people who don't understand the feeling, I will be literally sitting beside the fucking phone waiting for it to beep when you've taken a
Yeah.
pop of something. So make sure and
Yeah.
send me through the progress. I don't give a fuck what time of
I
the night
will.
it is.
I will, man.
And the very
That,
best of luck with her. She
I
looks absolutely stunning, man. I
love
mean,
it. I absolutely love it. We're going to talk. We'll talk more about it
yeah.
in the Let's Talk here. But I absolutely love it, man. I love it. Yeah. It's the gun I always wanted, I suppose, but I never really knew I wanted. But that's the way it goes, isn't it?
Absolutely, man.
Mm.
Absolutely. I
Well,
think, yeah, we're going jumping straight into the news, are we? Get the
yeah,
news.
yeah. We'll do a bit of news. So, yeah. I might shout out first. This was another one that was up on Facebook, and it was on the Moore Community Office. The Ballydangan Bog Red Grouse Project is hosting a Heritage Week event on Saturday, August 19th, which is this coming Saturday, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. The event takes place first in Moore Hall, which there's a postcode here, N37HT68, with an informative presentation about the work and the history of the Red Grouse Project and what has been achieved at the Ballydangan Bog. This will be followed by a guided visit to the Ballydangan Bog, which is really not to be missed. Everyone's welcome. A great day promised. Now, we've Ballydangan Bog, right? This grouse project, we've heard about it heaps of times. I've seen loads of stuff, and there's been write-ups on the papers. Like, it's fantastic to see something like that getting the coverage that it is getting, and rightly so. So keep going. People, get out, go to it. If I was down that neck of the woods, it'd be fantastic. I'd love to actually see it. I've read so much about it. So yeah, big up to them. And that's a nice little thing to be on to do this Saturday.
Absolutely. And continue support to them, guys. Next up is the Bell Christy Malloy sent this into us. It's Meath County Council. And it's a free talk on Meath Barn Owl Survey 2023. So it's join us for a free talk to celebrate one of our most iconic and magical birds, the barn owl, this Thursday, the 17th of August, which is tonight. However, I just want to give it a shout out because I think these are happening across the country. Dr. Alan McCarthy, Birdwatch Ireland, will present a talk about bird owl ecology in Ireland and outline the findings from the barn owl survey. And I know, look, that's prevalent to both our clubs. We do a lot of work in terms of barn owl boxes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. Hope everyone, and we'll touch base with Christy and see. I think Christy was going to try and make it over there. So hopefully it went well.
We'll see how it gets on. Super stuff. Busy week with the news this week. There's a good bit of other stuff coming up. Here's another one. It's the Tony Ty Open Classic Fly Fishing Competition. For the heaviest trout, first prize €500. Geez, nothing wrong with that. Second prize is a Sage fly reel, which we've had before, and they are class. And a Snow Bee fly rod. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's nice. The fourth prize is a Rio Gold fly line. There's other bits and pieces there as well. When's it on? Sunday, the 3rd of September in Greenfields. Now, I'm just looking here to see there's that an address, which there is. But the handiest thing to do is to jump onto Fishbook Era, and you will see the post up there with all the details on it. But that's on. You have a little bit of time to that. All the fly fishers keen, because it's kind of getting towards the end of the fly fishing season. So that's going to be a wicked one. Starts at 11 a.m., weigh in at 6 p.m. Entries no later than Friday, the 1st of September. So yeah,
brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
The next one is the Midlands National Shooting Centre of Ireland. It's the .22 LR train session match. It starts at 1:30 p.m. And we're just looking for a date here, Brenny.
Sunday the 20th. So this Sunday.
Sunday the 20th. Yes, Sunday the 20th. Sorry, completely missed that bit. and the distance 200 and 300 yards on the Creedmoor range. The training F-class target rifle and match rifle. So it's a 200-yard round count, 2 plus 20 plus blow-offs, and a 300 round count, 2 plus 15. So it'll be pair shooting, Bisley style. All the details there on the Midlands National Shooting Centre of Ireland page. And again, it's a training day, will be advantageous for those of you that are going to Bisley in September to compete in the 220, 300-yard matches. So yeah, get on it, lads. If you are into the 2-2 long distance target shooting, that's the job for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think if it's something that you're kind of want to get into, like, I think like there's a couple of people are into hunting, people are into shooting, people are into both. But if you're into shooting and you want to do a bit of target shooting, I would urge you, go down to that, meet the people down there, have a bit of a look. It's not going to cost you, see what you think of it, and it could be something that you could very well see yourself getting into. So yeah,
absolutely,
that's definitely one I would be heading out to. Last but by absolutely no means least, this was on last year and we didn't get to go to it, and I said to myself, 100% I'm going to that this year, and we will be in Hungary. And it is the Taxidermy Association of Ireland presents their 5th annual Taxidermy Championship. 2023 championship. The venue is Lynham's Hotel in Lara. Beautiful, beautiful spot, lovely part of the world. Lara is, of course, in County Wicklow. The date is Friday and Saturday, the 3rd and 4th of November. All inquiries to Taxidermy Association Ireland at gmail.com. I'd love to go to that, man. But I'd love to see that, man. I think some of the taxidermy work is just unbelievable. Like, yeah, I think you get some savage ideas.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Untethered and Wanderwise, where adventure has no age limit. We're your co-host, Heidi Brandis and Nikki Mahundro, and we're here to inspire and celebrate women over 45 who are embracing their independence and want to explore the world on their own terms.
Brilliant. Yeah, look, it sounds. I think isn't it brilliant that type of competition is going, and hopefully it's going to be, I think, similar to what we're going to be talking about next. But it's breathing new life into what was historically, I think it was almost a dying trade. I won't say, and look at due to people like the likes of Andy, who we've had the pleasure of having on the podcast. Young life coming into it, young breath of fresh air and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, deadly, brilliant stuff. And next year you'll make it, Bernie, won't you?
With the help of God, man. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt.
I might be with you.
You might. Well, yeah, I hope you'll be not too far away anyway. No? Here, we're going to bring this interview with the Bowl Pat Brennan. We had to just pick a couple of the questions because we could have got 6 episodes out of it. We will have Pat on again, but I think people are going to enjoy this because it's one of those things. I suppose when you announced that we were going to have Pat on, the amount of questions we got in, so it kind of goes to show you the amount of people that are that have gun dogs. It's a huge part of the sport, and the lifestyle for them is the dog and stuff, and so
absolutely. I think similar to yourself, Bernie. I wouldn't have thought it was, I think it's probably one of the podcast that we got the most questions on, isn't it? We always get loads and loads of questions, but I think this one was kind of different in terms of, just the veracity that were coming in. Even we were chatting to Pat, and there was questions coming in. There's questions coming in the pocket. So it's gas, and like that, I think it just highlights the hunger that's out there, in terms of knowledge and stuff like that, and maybe. Hopefully we look at it, he shared a wealth of knowledge, but hopefully we go a little bit towards answering some of them questions, to go to the simpler stuff. We're not all going to be, how would you say, dog trainers or trials, but we want to get our dogs working just that little bit better. So this will be hopefully the podcast for you.
Exactly right. Exactly, without a shadow of a doubt. On that note, here is the Bowl Pat Brennan. Now, first of all, Pat Brennan, welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast.
Welcome,
Pat.
Thank
you very much. Thanks for having me, lads.
Thanks a million coming on. I know you're a busy man, and I suppose you're probably especially. Would this be an exceptionally busy time of year, or would you hope to, would you have a lot of the work done at this stage, or what ways?
Well, no, well, this time of the year now, and this month and the next month and a half, I suppose, is kind of fitness work, getting them ready for competing early October. I suppose that's so there's a lot of galloping and stuff going on now in the evenings. But no, not like the busyness. Like we train all year round. But when I say we train all year round, we would do maybe like one, maybe 2 evenings a week. Me and a friend of mine.
Okay.
And summertime training is strictly retrieving. We're doing next to no hunting.
Okay. Retrieving. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I suppose, Pat, let's take it back. I suppose we'll start at the start. You're a hunting man, born and bred, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, so I suppose how did I get started? I started going shooting when I was about 9, 10 or 11, following along my father. Got our first spaniel here in the house, 1982. I was 12. I thought I trained it. And then I bought my first real one, we'll call it, in 87, trained that, competed in a couple of trials with it, realised it wasn't good enough. Went away from it for a while then from spaniels and did a bit of fox shooting and had a couple of hounds and terriers and stuff like that. And then I suppose early 2000s got back into the competing again.
Okay.
And it went from there then. I suppose I was lucky enough to stumble across a good man and who became my mentor and since became one of my best friends. And we would shoot almost every weekend together now during the winter. So, and like his knowledge of dogs was something else. And he taught me everything I know. He probably didn't teach me everything he knows. But, And that's Damien Kelly of Anaho fame. He's a great friend of mine now and hugely knowledgeable on dogs. But yeah, shooting man out and out. Like I describe myself as a shooting man who likes to compete with my dogs, but a shooting man number one.
Shooting man first.
Foremost. Yeah. And come here, Pat. With the dog training, is it something you do full time? Is it sort of more of a hobby? I suppose you might call it a hobby, but
yeah, it's a hobby. Absolutely a hobby. So like I work full time. You know what I mean? But it's a hobby. Definitely a hobby.
Yes, yeah, and a good one.
A labour of love.
Yeah, and to be honest, from time to time, back in 2016, I was changing jobs after 20 years. I thought about going into training and boarding dogs, and then I said, no, it's I think when you change your hobby into your job, it's not good because you don't have a hobby anymore. Then so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's always, I think you're better off to kind of separate the two if you can at all, because
and it's just the way it's a release. Then you can leave everything behind in the office or whatever you do. You know what I mean? And just get out and enjoy yourself. So that's my thoughts on it anyway.
Yeah. It says the two of us who've decided to start up a podcast about the thing that we love.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, the podcast might be work sometimes, but we still enjoy the hunting. We enjoy the podcast. We do. Sometimes it's a pain in the arse, but you're looking. We love it. We love it deep down. We get to talk to people like yourself, Pat. Come here. So obviously, this is something you're well renowned for now. Is it predominantly springers you use yourself? Do you do much with setters, or have you a favourite? Dare I say it, or are you preferential between one and the other?
So spaniels are my breed of choices. Was predominantly springers, but I've had cockers and good cockers as well. You know what I mean? So, but now I've shot over a number of pointers and setters, and I've owned 1 or 2 pointers, but never many and never for long. You know what I mean? It was always spaniels that they're my preference, I suppose. Had a couple of labs too, but predominantly spaniels, or almost all spaniels.
And just on that, Pat, what attracts you to the breed compared to say pointers or other breeds? What's the attraction?
I suppose originally it's the breed I got used to because it's what we had here. You know what I mean? But then having shot over both, I just get more of a buzz, I suppose, from the Spaniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have to say, any breed that's and there's a good one of any breed I enjoy watching. You know what I mean? But yeah, the Spaniel just gives me that bit more of a buzz.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that conversation becomes prevalent. In around the 1st of November, you'll hear it around the pubs that evening. Lads will be shooting over pointers, and they'd swear by no, there's no other breed, only a pointer, and there's another guy in the corner, and he's saying a setter, and then there's another fella, and he'd have nothing but spaniels. I think that's the way the conversation goes on that evening, anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and look, to each their own, and everybody has their preference, and they have their preference for a reason, and it depends on the terrain you have then as well. You know what I mean? Like it's horses for courses, and that's another reason why I like the Spaniel. I feel they're a go anywhere dog, or I expect mine to be a go anywhere dog anyway. You know what I mean? Whether it's heavy cover or rushes or whatever it is, I expect them to be able to do the job for me.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I would have always what would you say? I'm not a seasoned, dog man, but I've had springers, I've had the chocolate lab. And yeah, the thing I similar to yourself, but I like about the Springer is it's like that. It's like the one size fits all. They'll do everything. They'll go day and night. There's no stopping. They're small. They're a smaller enough frame of a dog in comparison to some of the pointers and stuff. They'll clear drains. Sometimes you're not going out trying to hold up a fence for them to get out underneath it, or I suppose they're like the ATV of dogs. Yeah, exactly, if that makes sense. They just go everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, from a shooting point of view, within reason, they can pretty much do a share of water work. Look, I wouldn't be. They're not a lab. They don't have that extra layer that the lab has in cold water and that, but they can pretty much do your job at a pond or whatever as well. You know what I mean? So, which probably the HPRs can too. You know what I mean? But it's just, again, it's a matter of choice.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Would you? I suppose here's another question that we get regular enough, and it's one I wanted to ask as well. And we talked about it on a previous podcast. Can a dog be both? I.e., can it be a pet and a real pet and a good gun dog, or do you have to kind of separate the two?
So I suppose the immediate answer is it can, but so mine aren't.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
And mine, the only pet of mine here is when they retire. That's when they become a pet.
Yes.
And like they're a lovely pet. You know what I mean? And they're very recently, there's a friend of mine. We've given a retiree spaniel, champion spaniel. We give it, and he has a grandchild now there's something wrong with the child anyway. But this dog is ideal because it's so calm and everything. So it was a fully trained dog, and it knows to be calm. And they're loving it for that job now, you know what I mean? So it just shows you there's another job after you retire, even as a dog, So it's
well behaved, well mannered.
Oh, very, very. I mean, you see, when you're competing, they have to be conditioned they almost have to be bulletproof, that they sit quiet when you tell them, they don't move, literally don't move. So they learn all that through their life. So that's what has made this one such a real nice pet now. It's so calm, right. Or even the simple thing of taking them for a walk, they're not pulling on the lead or anything. They have to just walk nice and calm beside you. So they do make good pets, but I don't mix the two. But that's not saying they can't be mixed.
Yeah.
Plenty of people do,
And say, Pat, say if you're starting at the beginning, I suppose there's a couple of guys sending in questions, and we'll get to them in a few minutes. But I suppose if we start when you're starting out, you're getting a young dog, what's the first thing you would? And I know, like, a lot of guys around the country and girls around the country won't be able to go into, the probably elaboration that you go into in terms of training your champion breeds and so on and so forth. But what would be the basics for the general hunting person out there, to start with?
Yeah, well, the start for me, like they start when they're babies, and what I'm doing for the first, like especially when they're 3 to 4 or 5 months old, I'm just observing to see, how they react to things. How do they react to that bag that's on the field? How do they react to that big thistle? How do they react to a little bit of noise? And just watching all that, because later on that becomes important, because it tells me how I have to approach this dog. You know what I mean? And how where I can drive on and where I have to take baby steps. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that. You're getting into the dog's head to understand what spooks them, what excites them, all those kind of things. You know what I mean? And you'll have some of them that are keen to retrieve, some of them just want to get hunting, and you have to balance that then, you know what I mean? And I suppose work on their weaknesses. And it's okay. So for us to turn out competition dogs, all that to me is a shoot, like, because I always like to train dog, even like for shooting, but so the competition dog is just a refinement of that.
Yes,
it's just a couple of steps further. And again, it's what you want yourself, because everybody, there's two things: what you like, and then what do you want this dog to do for you.
Okay.
And only you can decide that. And when I'm talking about the royal you out there, you know what I mean? Like, you have to decide, what do I need from this dog? And you teach it to give you what you need, and then you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Because that's what it should be about.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you. And then I suppose, like, you could do 3 podcasts. There's, every time, when you mention something there, I can think of 3 other questions to ask you in relation to something like that. But say, for example, my own dog, right? I have a Cocker Spaniel, right?
Mm-hmm.
No history of a working dog that I'm aware of in the breed. Purebred, IKC registered. It's a dog. He's just turned a year. Now, I'm guilty with working other commitments. I haven't had the time to spend with him. I'd love to get him out this year with me when I'm out shooting. I'm not expecting that hectic. What are some little things that I could start introducing now, or am I simply too late? Has the ship sailed? Or could I start now? Maybe
Oh, yeah, you definitely not. It's not too late. No, this is me without seeing the dog. You know what I mean? But like, starting, like, the first thing I'd start to do. So will he walk on a lead for you?
No problem at all. Yeah.
Okay. So then like start introducing him to sit. You know what I mean? And use whatever command you do, and you can do, because he's a year old now. I'd probably do it with the lead. Like there's tools out there to use. I would use anything that I need, but I avoid using anything if I can. You know what I mean? So even leads. Now I always use the lead, but I mean, I don't use the lead to train them, but some people do. But
yes.
Like in this case now, where he's a year old, it probably would be a good way to start. You know what I mean? Just as you have him on the lead, tell him to sit and make him sit. And get him looking up at you. So like when he's in front of you, he'll tend to sit up and then praise him for that. You know what I mean? So it has to be all about success and praise and like tone. Like they don't understand words. They understand sounds.
Yes.
They understand a small handful of sounds, I would say, is as far as most of them can go.
Yeah.
But they understand the sound, and they understand your tone. Tone is key.
Yeah, and I know exactly. Like, our dog now, he's a pure pet. No mistake about it. Anthony's seen him. The kids absolutely idolize him. But the tone is, I couldn't agree with you more. He knows. I could say it to him. you're the best dog in the whole world. But if I say it in a certain tone, he dips low to the ground and he thinks I'm giving out to him. Do you know what I mean? It's purely down to the way I say it to him, and he knows when he's. I have him sitting, and he'll stay if I tell him to stay, and I don't know how it come out. I make a kind of an L shape with my hand, if that makes sense. And he stays, but like, I agree with you. It's down to the tone of your voice.
Yeah, the tone is key, and like, it's very similar to kids. You know what I mean? Like, they like, if you say don't touch that, that's the same with a dog. You know what I mean? It's they learn that's not good, and then when he's praising me, it is good. And like, it's important to say the praise is as or even more important than the negative, if you like.
Yes.
So like, so back to your question, it's not too late. Sounds like, so like, you have him sitting, you have him working on the lead. What's he like when you release him? If you're out the field, does he take off and not come back, or is he good enough to stay with you? Or
yeah, no, that's the part I haven't done. I haven't really done much with, because time, I suppose, is kind of a big thing around here. We live right just kind of on the edge of a really busy road. So my biggest fear is I need to bring him way somewhere that if he did run off, because if I bring him in any of the fields around here, he's never going to be too far away from the road, and I'd be just I'd be terrified he'd run out on the road, So that's the only thing I'm cautious, I suppose, of doing. I'd be, because he's such a pet as well. I'd be terrified if I let him off and he just took off. That's
the road has to be avoided. But like, I would suggest taking him to some field where there's no distractions, as in no smelly game or anything, and just start off on the lead. Like, when he's at the end of the lead, the lead is at full length, call him into you, praise him, and then eventually, just when you're in a safe place, just let him go and call him, almost straight away, that he comes into you. So he'll start to learn. Then when he calls me, it's great fun, like when I come back in.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's just build it from there, because it definitely will. Now, they say, what's the difference between a springer and a cocker? You can tell a springer what to do. You have to ask a cocker.
Very good.
Very good. Yeah. Right. Okay. I haven't actually heard that one before, but that's a good one now.
Yeah, but now they're like, a cocker, and a good cocker is a pleasure to shoot over now.
Yes. Yeah.
Come here, Pat. I've probably a different problem, as Brenny will probably attest to. I've
Is this about the rash? Oh, sorry, no.
Wrong podcast.
That's the next podcast. I have a Springer at home. I have a Springer and a Pointer, but the Springer would have been my dog for the last couple of years. It was given to me by a man who had taken him on, and he'd unfortunately ran out of the hips and the legs were going on him, and he wanted to he had taken him on to bring him shooting and stuff like that, but anyway, couldn't do it anymore, and I was giving him kind of late in the day. Now he hunts well, he's good nosing him, he's built like what do you call him? He's built like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you have to say, Pat, he's a mixture between a Springer and a Charlie Bull. I swear to God, I never seen a dog like this in all my life.
Yeah, and he's an odd, like Brenny probably has seen him in action, and Rob, a mutual friend of ours, has definitely seen him in action, but I wasn't expecting much, when I brought him out the first time. He's kind of had shown little or no interest until the nose went up and he got on the scent, and he would go through the back of a bus to get at it, and that was fine. But as the kind of season progressed, I noticed like he was hunting a lot for himself, so way too far ahead of me, and it kind of got progressively worse, and I tried a few little things.
And that's I'm sorry for cutting across you, but that's what happens. You know what I mean? Like, even the first time that happened, he had his fun away from you.
Yeah,
that's the point I'm making. The fun has to be where you are. That's how we would train. You know what I mean? Like as much as possible, I'd have him finding game at my feet. If now look, it doesn't happen always at that, but you know what I mean. Like it's always within range. Now,
Yeah.
look, we go places where game behaves like that, where it's different when you're out in the wild. I know it too well. Like rough shooting in the wild is different because. But having said that, that dog pulling away from you is no use in the wild because, as you all know, game is so scarce in the wild. You want every opportunity to get your shot. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
now what age is he, Anthony?
He'd be 2.5, 3 maybe now at this stage, I'd say,
You see, he's 2.5, 3, and he's had a season of fun away from you. It sounds like
Yeah.
so. That's going to be very hard to fix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, look, there's people would tell you they could fix it, and there's ways to fix it, but it's. I wouldn't go down that route, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's too late in his case, essentially.
Well, without having seen him, but from what you've just told me, it sounds like it's he's going to be hard to reel in now because as you said there, when he gets that smell, he's going to go.
Yeah.
And one thing I have to say, pheasants are the ruination of dogs when it comes to that because pheasants, as you know, they're typically a running bird and just
Yeah.
run. And they run a straight line, and your dog runs that straight line until he catches up with him. And we're not able to run where they can run. So
No.
Yeah.
problem
Yeah.
straight away. Like,
I know.
and that's why it's back to the beginning. You know what I mean? Like if you get ingrained in them from the very beginning that all the fun is near me, it just works. Now I'm not saying later on some of the harder ones can take you on, but it's usually when they get to learn about the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Your advice is to before you introduce game. Sorry, Brenny. Before you introduce game at all, is to try and the retrieving and all the fun is in around your
Yeah.
feet. Essentially, is where the
Yeah.
action should happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as I said there at the beginning, like I'm working on that from 3 months old. Like
Okay.
not that they're getting. Look, I have two pups here at the moment. They're 3.5 months old now. But as I say, I'm assessing them. But like they could run 10 yards in the field, and I'll call them into me, and they come running in, and they get petted, and it's all like it's real. It's good to be near me. You know what I mean? And then
Okay.
like over the next few months, I'll start doing my training and retriever training. Most of my retrievers, well, no, all of my retriever training at the beginning is done here in the lawn. I have a fenced lawn here, and like it's very late in the time when I move out of that. I do all my memory retrieves, my blinds, my go backs, lefts, rights. It's all done here, and until they're really good at it in here, I don't try it anywhere else.
Okay.
Okay.
That's probably helping in terms of what Brenny's trying to achieve there. Maybe the requirement is not to go out in the field. There's plenty of work to be done, even around the house that can be done. So
Absolutely, it's where I do all my groundwork.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you say like say the retrieve again, and going back to my own dog, just because it's similar, I suppose. I know the position I'm in. Would you advise to get him more confident on coming back first and then work on to retrieve and then, or
Correct.
does it? Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So
and I have an example myself here at the moment with one of those pups. So they're brother and sister. I bred them both. I know everything about them from a background point of view. And a dog and a bitch. Bitch comes in lovely and soft, you know what I mean, and almost submissive, and just naturally sits up in front of me. The dog was coming in like a bullet and coming in to jump up on me. And like when I was giving him the retrieve, he was spitting the ball out foot and a half away from me just so he could come and jump up on me. So now I've stopped the ball completely. And the last 2 weeks I've been working on, when he comes to me, he slows down and he sits down. And this is what this isn't me training. This is just me ingraining in him. This is the right way to approach me.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like that's just an example of one of the observations I had, and the difference in exactly the same age, same litter, just totally different behaviours. But no, if you saw the two of them out the field just doing their own thing, you'd say they're the very same as each other. But they're
Yes,
not.
they're not. I know what you're
There's
saying.
different
Different
mannerisms in them. Like.
characteristics. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
exactly.
And I suppose here's another thing now that I'm kind of a little bit. Look at, as I always said, he's a pet primarily. I'd like to get myself, a good gun dog at some stage when get a few other things buttoned away. But gun shy, right? Let's talk. It's the age old, isn't it? How many times have we heard of a fella? We've all heard there's a fella in every parish who spent €800 on the best dog ever and brought him out to the field, fired a shot over his head, and the dog was back at the car before he was. We've all heard that. How is it? Well, I suppose, is it a myth, or can it be? How would you say? Is there such thing as a dog that's completely gun shy? Or is it in certain circumstances, or are they just shy to all kind of noises, or do you know what I mean? Or is there a way of if they are, is there a way of getting them out of that, or what?
So my experience is it's man-made.
Okay.
And you said it there at the start of your question. Gets this dog, doesn't even know it, takes it out the field, goes bang, and the dog is gone.
Yeah.
So, like, the first thing when you get a new dog, and I don't care, it could be a fully trained dog, you need to let that dog get to know you and bond with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of them can do it very quick. Some of them can take a couple of weeks, can take a month before they're fully settled with you.
Yeah.
And that's, you have to be careful. But like any dog that I saw that was, and I have to be honest, I haven't seen many, but any that were shy,
mm-hmm.
it was man-made.
Okay.
And the man-made piece is what we just described there, like going bang over them straight away, either when they're pups for the first time or when they're new to you.
Yes.
It's now, can it be fixed? Yes. It's not easy, but so long as you see it in time. And you will see it, like the way we start them off on shot is with the starting pistol, and I always do it with someone else. I stay with the dog. I get whoever that someone else is to move off maybe 20, 25 yards, depending on the dog now. And that's what I was talking about earlier about observing them. You know what I mean? Because like I'll be here. I have a bin here where I catch water off the roof, but I'll slap the lid in that bin in the vicinity where the pups are, and I'm watching to see how they react. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And you'll see all that. You know what I mean? You'll even see them how they react to a car passing the road or a tractor passing the road. They'll be concerned, and others won't even care. You know what I mean? So
you're building confidence in the dog all the time. It's kind of like it's like a building a foundation. You're kind of you're letting them know that, or her know that safe space, the best place to be is around me, and nothing's going to go wrong if you're close by me, and so on and so forth. And then once they have confidence in themselves, then it's easier and probably less likely then, obviously, that they're going to be afraid of that sudden bang, etc.
Yeah. No, and look, and more so years ago, not so much now, but there were certain lines where it was a risk. You know what I mean? Certain bloodlines, but I have to say that's pretty much not the case anymore.
Okay.
But like you said it there, Anthony, it's about like your dog must trust you. You have to build that bond and that trust. And like, the saying, dog is man's best friend. Well, man must be dog's best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
As in the dog must see you as, I idolize him, like, or her.
Yes. Yeah, true, yeah.
And they have to feel, as long as I'm with him or her, I'm safe and I'm happy.
Yeah.
That has to be the case. And once you get that bond, you'll get the best out of that dog. Whether the best is good enough for what you want or not, that's a different story.
Well, it's going back to a point you made earlier on about the whole kid thing. It's you could argue it's very similar to a kid. If you have to, your child has to have confidence and faith in you, and always look to you for right or wrong, and a dog. It's very similar, I suppose.
It's very, very, very similar. Now, maybe kids might want to hear us saying that, but it is very similar. Like.
Yes. Yeah. No, it is. Yeah. That's a valid point. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sorry, Anthony. Go ahead.
So we I suppose just the questions in terms of they've kind of, I know Stewie there, who's one of the listeners on the podcast. He's basically said, look, 7 months old, Springer puppy, what time is the optimum time, start training, whistle, etc., and any tips to start working with her? You've kind of answered that, Pat. It's never too early. You're almost observing and working with her from the start, and then utilize your own garden in terms of the groundwork. Getting them to retrieve or coming back to you is the first thing, and before you introduce the retrieve. And then retrieve work. Then, any tips there, as to going left, going right, straight retrieve? Is there any kind of tips for people out there?
Yeah, just before I go to that, just one thing you said there, and something to be careful of, like never too young. But when I'm talking about when they're young, I never consider that I'm training them. You know what I mean? I'm almost molding them to what I later on want. Now there does come a point when you do start training.
Yeah.
But like just now at 7 months old, okay, if you said to me the two I have now at 7 months, what would I expect them to be doing? I'd expect them to be doing like short memory retrieves here and when I say memory retrieves, it's a spot on my lawn that they get so familiar with, they know like that's where I'm going all the time for my retrieve. And later on, you build it to blinds. Well, it's blind memories. You know what I mean? You put something in that place without the dog seeing you put it there. And when you tell them to go, they just run to that spot because they're so used to doing it. So that's a memory retrieve. And then an extension of that is like a blind memory, if you like. You know what I mean? So it's something they didn't see put there, but it's going to that same spot. That's what but at 7 months old, I do short ones of those. And depending on the dog, like every dog is different. So I'm saying this now, there's some 7-month-old pups that I would have very little done with. And there's some that would get very advanced because they're very, I can't stress enough brains. Brains are important because it just makes the job so much easier. And to be honest, if I had something here that wasn't some level of intelligent, I wouldn't keep it.
Yeah.
Because I know it'll let me down.
Yes.
But like, look, 7 months old, little bit of sitting, I wouldn't even worry about the staying, like, you know what I mean? Just like sitting and then like first thing is to get them sit up, sit in front of you, look up at you, and then after a short time of that, you take one step back. If they're comfortable with that. And the big thing to watch, a lot of the dogs move off of that spot when you take the step back towards them, which sounds a bit funny now, but that can happen. Like when you start to move towards them, they come moving towards you. So it's just to keep that distance short. Don't increase your distance too fast. And that's the same with retrieves as well. It has to be all about success. So if you're setting them up to do a left and right, I usually sit them here kind of midways on my lawn. There's a 6 foot high fence. And so that forms a straight line, if you like. Because when I say go left or right, I want them to turn and go flat. I don't want them coming towards me. I don't want them going away from me. I want them to go flat where I say. But like, far better to have them going 5 yards and be successful than trying to get them to go 20 yards too soon and fail, because failure will breed doubt and they won't believe you anymore. And you don't want to be there.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just
baby steps. Exactly. I suppose baby steps is the key there. Just gradually over a period of time.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised. Like I said, I do all the lefts and rights here in the lawn, and like I can only stretch it up to maybe maximum 15 yards each side of them. You know what I mean? But I've done that, and then maybe gone. When they get a bit older, gone training, and next thing, because they didn't get to where I was sending them for the retrieve first time, I have to give them a left or right hand cast, and they'll go 30, 40 yards, no problem, because they've learned. When he says go left or right, I go flat and I'll get there.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it just, you don't have to increase it, especially with Spaniels. Now, Labrador is a little bit a retriever is a bit different. You know what I mean? You are building that distance, but you still start the same way, and it has to be all about success every time.
Yes.
And come here, Pat. Do you introduce treats into that, or do you just no?
No, but like, okay, no, yes and no. So not treats as in food,
Yeah.
but the treat to me is, okay, what do they like? So first of all, like getting out of their kennel. So I'll ask them to sit up on their bench before I let him out. So they learn, if I sit, he lets me out. That's the treat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
It's a reward. It doesn't necessarily have to be. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like
correct.
a handful of.
I've never used food treats ever.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good.
I suppose.
No, look, I'm not saying it's wrong to use them, and it's, you see, there's a load of different ways of training dogs, and I suppose what I'm talking about here tonight is my way. What has worked for me. But it's not the only way, and loads of people can get to the same end place, but with different methods, I suppose. You know, there's even the likes of, the likes of play sports, for example. I don't use play sports. Now, I'm not going to say I'll never use play sports, because if I need to use something, I'll use it. But whatever fits at the time to get me, if there's a problem, to sort it out. But like the play sport mentality for me is, it's where the dog is happy. So I use a spot on the lawn that they're familiar with, that they're happy to be there. They know good things happen there. That becomes almost their play sport.
Okay.
So like, again, there's nothing wrong with play sports. Loads of people use them and have great success with them. I don't use them, but I can see the benefit of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
It's just, I suppose it's a lot of people have their own way. Obviously, you're very successful at it, so I'm sure a lot of people will be going, I think I'll try it Pat's way.
Yeah,
but you see, your point is well made, because it's not Pat's way. You have to, like, and this is key. You have to be open to listening to everybody. Now, you filter out what's not useful, but
yes,
it could be somebody who never properly trained the dog, but they've seen a lot. They could drop some nugget someday that you'll say, and next thing you come across the problem with the dog and say, geez, I remember what your man said, or what the woman said, I'm going to try it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's just to be open to listening and learn when you have to also, and you know this from shooting, you have to learn who not to listen to as well.
Yeah. Oh, we've a few of them, all right.
but yeah, no, it's and like, always be open to and be aware of opportunities to train. So what do I mean by that? Walking through a gate, and you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed what dogs see as an obstacle. It could be just a dip in the field, and they'll come to the brow of the hill, and next thing you will see them going left and right, back and that. They think it's an obstacle until they cross, and you have to teach them to cross that obstacle. Getting through the 5-bar gate, getting through a mucky gap, all those things. Because whether you're shooting or competing, like, the weirdest things can happen.
Yeah.
So it's just, as I said, to be aware of opportunities to train all the time.
I know what you mean. Yeah. We have another question in here, and this one is from Richie Burns, and he says, can you ask Pat about getting a Springer bitch into water? She is 13 months old and retrieving to dummy like mad, but will not go into water after it, even if it's only 2 to 3 foot in front of her.
Mm-hmm. So the best way, okay, the first thing is, did you say his name was Richie, is it?
Yeah, Richie Burns.
Okay, so the first thing, Richie, is be prepared to get wet.
Yeah.
Because, and if you could find a pond or a lake or somewhere that has a gradient into it, so that you can walk in even to just within the tops of your wellies, and just get, again, now this has to start back at the beginning on the land where they're happy to be with you. You know what I mean? So that dog, before I go to water, trust me, and we walk in. Now, Some of them won't be happy to walk in, but eventually they'll dip the toes. And then, like, I would use a tennis ball and I might just drop it right in front of them and they'll pick it. So they've picked it off the water. Success straight away. I have to say the last couple of years, what I've started doing is, and it works really well now, is, okay, so when I'm galloping the dogs or letting them unwind, I'll take them to a big field, maybe a stubble field or header or something like that, and I'll just say, go play. And they can do whatever they like. They can flush game, they can chase it, they can do anything they like. And I mean now they could be 150 yards away from me doing, because this is their playtime. But I've now started doing that when I go to the lake. And they all just chase each other, and the younger dogs follow the older dogs into the water, and they just learn this water is great fun. And then when you go back, you sit them down, you throw in the dummy, and they have no problem with the water because they just think it's fun. So, and now, to be honest, it's only in the last 2 to 3 years I've started that method now. But definitely walking in with them, even put them on the lead if they're happy on the lead. No, don't let it get in. If they're hesitant, don't start pulling the lead in that, because that's the worst thing you can do. You just have to take your time. But as I say, even if they only, don't expect to swim the first couple of times. Just let them get familiar with the water, get them happy putting their feet in the water, picking the ball off the water, and then stretch it a little bit, after a couple of turns. And be surprised that they should go for it.
You're kind of taking the mystery out of it, I suppose, isn't it? You're sort of yeah.
See, the water it's one of those natural obstacles that I've talked about. The things that put dogs off it would amaze you. Like I've seen things where, where you'd say, why won't they go there? There's nothing in their way, but and from their point of view, it's obviously like there's a 6-foot wall in their way because they just won't cross it.
Yes,
and that could be a laneway, and the water is just another one of those.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
100%.
I think it's probably evident there. The biggest thing I'm probably learning at the minute is in terms of your teaching and training there, Pat, would be like the first and foremost, it's the comfortable habitat, isn't it? They have to be at ease, and the more at ease they are, the more they're going to do what you want them to do, and because they think that's inevitably that's what you want them to do, and they want to please you, and so on and so forth. Whereas, I suppose, we've all like I think there's not a man in the hunting world that hasn't seen it. Where, there's probably lads who don't see their dog from one end of the year to the other, and then they get out in the 1st of November and expect them to be some sort of a trials expert, and you'll see them there, and the hat will be thrown on the ground, and the dog will be doing everything bar what they wanted to do, but sure, the dog doesn't understand, and that's goes back to if they're not comfortable, they ain't going to do it, is it?
No, that's exactly it. And I mean, like, just something I thought of there as you were saying that, like, I remember, because I didn't always have trained dogs, by the way, and I remember, I remember following these dogs. We used to hunt a lot of valleys and that, and like, you would be running flat out to try and be where they are when they flush the bird, and next thing the bird will get up and you're panting that hard you can't even shoot them, like. So,
tell me about it.
And that's why I'd never go back there, like. It's just, it's not enjoyable.
Yeah. No, I understand that. That's 100%. Yeah.
And like, I do understand, depending on the terrain you're shooting, you don't need them in tight as we would have them for trials. Absolutely understand that. But like, you do need them that they're with you. And when you ask them to come back, they come back. And when you ask them to go somewhere else, they go there. You know what I mean? It's and it's building that trust and that bond that if I say go left, even if your nose is telling you go right, you go left.
Yes.
They have to trust you. You know what I mean? They have to say, okay, the last time, even though I think it's over here, the last time he told me to go the other way, I actually got to retrieve. You know what I mean? So, like on a trial day, a big trial day, that it's very important because you're dealing with. We would be on, say, stock shoots, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of game, a lot of scent.
Yeah.
They really have to trust you, you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yeah. We had another, John Madden just messaged in. He says, hi lads, can you ask Pat when he's on, is there any truth in the theory of bringing your dog out, bringing your pup out with trained dogs, i.e., I presume what he means there is like, if you've a pup, can you bring it out with dogs that are trained? Will they learn off each other? I suppose is what he's trying to get at there.
The only time I do that is when I said about the water, just so that they feel a bit of comfort. Now, is there any truth in that they learn from? I'll tell you how they learn. See, they'll follow the older dogs. And if your older dogs have a switched on nose, they'll take them to where the game is. And they'll learn, okay, this is where I get the fun. Because they'll start to smell it and they'll flush it and they'll love it. You know what I mean? So from that point of view, they'll learn from it. But they'll also learn the bad habits.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Very true.
And like it's I won't say it's impossible, but it's very hard to control two dogs. Because you see, they compete with each other as well. You know, you think about that pheasant now, gone running down the hedge, and two dogs after it. Well, one wants to get to the head of the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it turns it into, almost a worse version, Anthony, of what you described your lad is doing. You know what I mean? Because but so to answer his question,
an 18-stone Anthony running up the hedge trying to catch.
but I mean to answer John's question, yes, they can learn from them, but they can they can learn from you as well. You know what I mean? They can learn the game. Like I don't do. No, I gallop them together and all that. You know what I mean? But that's fun time. That's do what you like time.
Yes.
But when it comes to, like, they know when I take them on their own, I cast them off and the whistle is on, they're on, like.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I see we just got one other message in there now, and it's can you ask Pat what it's like to have such a legend of a son and such a helpful assistant from a James Brennan? So it's a family affair.
I see him wandering around the yard out here. So,
so you've obviously you're bringing him along with you. That's your son.
He actually wouldn't come. He's not as young as he's making himself sound now. He's 23. So,
and you were just about to say, Pat, you trained your dogs better than you trained the son. Is that what you're
the dogs wouldn't send a cheeky message like that.
Very good.
The dogs would know what I think of him. I know James is a great lad and good here with the dogs. You know, I have to say, like, it's important to have good support here at home as well. You know, because especially when I was trialing a lot, it's you're away a lot, because I would have done a lot of trialing in the north of Ireland now. You know what I mean? Winter time, you'd be up there 2-3 days a week.
Be the Lord, so, right?
No, I don't do as much of that anymore now, I have to say. But,
yes.
But like it's to have the support at home to look after the dogs that are left at home, and to have the patience to let me go, I suppose.
Well, funny enough, you just said it. I think we've said it before, Brennan, haven't we? And we've discussed this probably in a couple of the last few trips away, and we're obviously planning another one and so on and so forth. But look, I think it's important that's one of the things we're blessed with, all of us collectively here. I think anyway, I can speak for in that, like we head off, and there's kids and other commitments, and household commitments and so on and so forth to have to be looked after. And I think I know it works both ways, but like on the other side of it, I think it's it's essential to have that support network, especially given the time and stuff like that, and the nature of the sport. It's not something that you can, we're not playing on the computer at home in the office. It's generally away from home, sometimes long distances, and sometimes for long periods of time. So it's good to have that,
Absolutely. And it's like you're winter time, you're getting up there at unearthly hours of the morning and things, and disturbing the whole place, and coming back then and look, it's I have to mention herself as well. Very good to me here. You come home, dinner is waiting for you, all that, So it's
Jeez, will you get her to have a chat with? Get her to have a chat with mine, will you? That dinner that sounds good.
McGuire, don't go there, man. Don't go there. You and Chase will be looking for a new home.
If I go missing, you know what happened.
Exactly.
It's important. And look, another bunch of lads I just want to mention is so back in 2004 we formed the North Tip Working Gun Dog Club here, and it's pretty much the same committee since the start, and they're a great bunch of lads, very progressive and always trying to do the right things. And I suppose related to what we were talking about here, we try to run every year training classes for anybody really, just to, I suppose it's an in-person version of what we're talking here, and bring along your dogs and whatever that. So it doesn't work every year because we don't get the numbers, but like we had a very successful one this year, and we usually try to bring, you know, like different people to give their opinions. Like this year we had Paul O'Brien, he's a retriever man. You know, so it's not just, even though we're predominantly spaniels in our club, but we like, there's a lot, and I can't say this enough, every spaniel person needs to be aware you can learn an awful lot from the retriever people, because think about it, everything they do we need to be able to do when it comes to retrieving. And their methods are usually, you know, because it's kind of specialized, so it's specialized retrieving, it's a great learning.
You can essentially pick the bones of that then and utilize the parts that are, for your own.
Yeah, I suppose, definitely.
That's great to hear as well, Pat, that you have that kind of that initiative going. Like, I mean, geez, and please let us know the next time that you run it there. We'll give it a good blast out as well.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll do. We usually try to run it around March, April time every year. It's kind of when the season ends and you've had a bit of time to do a bit of work with the dogs, you know, because like it's coming into, we call it the working test season. You know what I mean? Where working tests is, you know, on dummies. It's you know, you're hunting, but it's on dummies. It's not on game. So they run usually from March, April time right through the summer.
Okay.
And I suppose the big one there is, you know, making the Irish team to go to the game fairs over across the water. So what used to be the CLA game fair, that's the big one. Like that's seen as the bee's knees when it comes to tests, you know, and to make your Irish team and to compete in it. And like, I'm glad to say the Irish team this year, they won it overall. So they won the Labradors and the Spaniels. They won the overall event. So it's great.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and I have to say, like Irish Spaniels are in a very good place the last couple of years, you know, from a standard point of view. But no, look, I'm talking about competition, I know, but that helps the breed all the way right through to the shooting man as well. You know what I mean? So like we've gone and we've competed with the so-called big boys and the professionals and beaten them. So some of the Irish lads have brought home the British Championship. You know what I mean? So it's great.
That's look, brilliant. I think we've spoken about it. I suppose that was the whole idea of the podcast in the first place, but it was to try and I suppose champion things like what you guys are doing. And I know that we had great success over the last couple of weeks there, and months with the clay shooters and long distance and target shooting and so on. And it gets very little airtime. And you know what I mean, and wrongly so. Like, I mean, this is, you know, internationally recognized competition, and we're punching well above our weight in a lot of these disciplines. And I think, look, Brenny and I both think that it should be sung from the rooftops, not.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's and I have to say, look, it's only in the last couple of weeks I listened to a few of your podcasts, and very enjoyable, and you're doing a great job doing what you just described there, Anthony. You know what I mean? You are promoting it, even when you're not. You are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's if we get somebody talking about it. I think that was the whole point of it. I think if we get people talking like that now, you see the messages coming through, and there's people here listening tonight, you know, we're thinking about getting back into shooting. Obviously we've a few things getting initiatives going and stuff like that, and we're getting people hunting and fishing. You know, we've had people, you know, donating fishing rods to people, getting them started in that thing. So it's a collective effort to try and get you know, people who may have kind of had it still in their back of their mind, just I'd love to get back out there, or something that we want to do. And it's true like that. The questions you were answering there tonight, it's that's going to be beneficial to them. And look, I speak for myself as well. Most definitely it's beneficial to myself. I'll be starting please God, with the next dog, a lot quicker and a lot more observant, I think,
Definitely,
Yeah, and look, the younger you can start, and I'm not going to say training, but the younger you can start to mold them into what you want, that's key. It's those first early months are key to. And look, if I have a litter of pups here, I'm watching that litter of pups from the time they can start moving in the box to see does anything catch my eye. I was listening to your podcast last week when you were talking about the rifles, and Brendan, I think you said we're men, we like shiny things, but it's no different in the dogs. It's what catches your eye. You know what I mean? And like what catches my eye mightn't be what catches your eye. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I totally agree with you there. I don't know if I mentioned it before. It's common knowledge in our house. When I went down to get Chase, our cocker pup, and like there was a litter, I think there might have been 8 or 9, and to say, well, how did you know which one to pick? And as I walked into the pen, 7 of them headed off into the corner, and one just sat there looking up at me, and I says, yeah, he'll do.
Yeah. There was one bad character.
Exactly. Yeah. One half blind deaf dog.
Yeah. No, it's look.
How's the other 7 getting on, Pat?
No, I just thought to myself to say the way I looked at it was, now this is I said he's going to make a judgment before he jumps to any conclusion.
Very good.
Yeah, but Pat, we could have you on for 10 episodes. There's that many questions, but I'll tell you what I do want to ask you before we wrap it up. Right, we're looking out now. We've 2 weeks left in August. So what have we got? We've 8-9 weeks before we hit 1st of November. Mm-hmm. What should lads be doing now? So I'm talking about lads that either are planning on bringing their dog out for the first season, or lads that, maybe it's their second, third season, but they haven't done much work with them, over the past couple of months. So what's little things should they start introducing now to get maybe fitness up and kind of get maybe the first ones ready to go?
Yeah. So you said it. So the first thing is fitness, because you know yourself, and especially come the 1st of November, and it's wrong, but everyone expects their dog to go all day or to go for half the day, and to me, if you're doing that much shooting, you need 2 or 3. But anyway. Yeah. So a high level of fitness is needed to be able to do that. Even for a dog to go at a reasonable pace for an hour and a half, they need to be very fit to do that. You know what I mean? And also feed. And now some dogs need higher protein than others. Some can't take the higher protein. You know what I mean? But you're starting to build all that, build the muscle. You want to get the muscle on the back hips, on their back end, because that's where they drive from. And now look, you can take out, there's loads of lads will take their little shooting dog and he'll just toddle along there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a dog that's going to excite me when it's going.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the other one that I mentioned there. It's what you like. That's the important thing here.
100%.
The other thing to work on, and we touched on it there, if it's the first time out, don't go out and go bang. Make sure your dog is comfortable with that noise before you fire that shot.
Yes.
Because it'll end up in disaster if you don't. Now, it mightn't, but you don't know that, and you don't want to find out the hard way.
Yes.
Other than that, it's then, increasing that the time they're working, and that's all to do with the fitness as well. But then, and you'll get them onto a bit of senti ground, a bit of game, and make sure they're with you, all those good things, you know what I mean? Because come that first day of the shooting, shooting men, they are what it says in the tin, they're shooting men, and the dog is just, the dog gets forgotten about, or you forget something, and so have all that groundwork done before that day, and you'll have an enjoyable day.
Yes,
very good.
Yeah,
that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah, definitely. I spoke about it before as well. I couldn't. For a long time, I struggled. I had a Springer, right, going back probably 10 years ago now. phenomenal dog. Everything, it ticked every box. It genuinely did. Wouldn't go too far ahead. Would retrieve all day. Now, probably not the greatest at soft retrieving, but springers don't sometimes. But we'll go left, we'll go right, hunt all day and never missed a beat. Unfortunately, then it was old. It got cancer and it died when I was out in Australia. And I came home and I tried to get back into pheasant shooting, and I do it and I kind of enjoy it. But I kept saying to myself, well, I just don't really, of all the types of disciplines of hunting that I do, I enjoy this least, and then it just dawned on me. It was like, sure, it's the dog. It was the highlight of it wasn't the shooting really. It was the dog, seeing the dog work, getting out with the dog and talking to lads about different dogs and seeing how different dogs behave. And I realised then that's really the highlight of pheasant shooting actually for me is the dog. It's getting out with the dog.
Yeah. And look, I'm similar to you in that my least favourite quarry to work with the dogs is pheasant, simply because they encourage them to pull away from me. Look, I love, even shooting wise, I love wild. So pigeons, snipe, woodcock, rabbits, they're my favourite shooting because they're wild. Grouse if we had them, you know what I mean, but we don't, unfortunately. But no, I've shot a lot of pheasants in my time. I have to say I haven't shot a pheasant in the wild, let's say, in about 12 years. But we go on shoot days throughout the winter. They're basically training days for the dogs, but like we enjoy our shooting as well, you know what I mean? So especially me, and it's good fun, and there's a nice team as they go together. That's important too, you know what I mean? Who you train with, you need to enjoy that company.
Well, I think that's our way of life, isn't it? We've said it loads of times here. I think it's like we've similar to I think in every company around the country we've young guys coming in, and we've elder statesmen, and each one has a kind of a special place in the club in terms of their, with the young guys coming through, the older lads are helping them and so on and so forth, guiding them, what I mean, advice and all that. And with the older guys, then it's great. It's a great social outlet. It's great, especially for rural Ireland, where there's very few things left. The pub is nearly, it's kind of dying out, unfortunately. The driving aspect and all that kind of stuff. So and this is one of the few things that it's kind of like it's a signature of rural Ireland, isn't it? You'd see the guy going with the fishing rod over the shoulder in the summer, and the shotgun would be broke over the shoulder coming back up the road with the dog in front of him in the winter time, and that's we can't lose that on top of everything, I think, No,
and look, it's about making memories, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
There'll come a time when we can't get up and go, and we'll look back, look, I'm not one for sharing much stuff on social media, but definitely taking pictures of good days and of the lads you're with, you look back on them later and they're valuable, you know what I mean? And just the other thing you touched on there, Anthony, youth coming into the sport. I suppose our sport it's not a dying sport, but there's not much youth. Now, I have to say this year, for the first time at the North Tip working test, it was great to see so many new faces. And hopefully they'll get the bug. I know a couple of them have. Like I can see I can even see them getting results there in other tests. So it's great. You know what I mean? Because we need them. We need all those people to keep this sport alive, whether it's shooting or fishing, as you say, or competing with the dogs, whatever it is. It's important as much as possible that we encourage all those in, and when they do come, make them feel welcome.
That's a big thing.
That's a big thing. That's unfortunately I think in our sport or way of life, there's an awful lot of criticism, and we see it time and time again. And it's just that how would you call it? It's a fucking septic trait. Some lads having this, they nearly. We've seen it before, like in certain groups, stuff. Lads are afraid, and especially no different in dogs. It's very intimidating. Some lads are kind of afraid to answer questions because when they do ask a question on social media, you're reading down through the comments, and the first 10 are taking the piss out of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is, and look, and social media is like a gun. In the wrong hands, it's a deadly weapon. Like.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? And the innocent get wounded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
But,
yeah.
but like, and look, I say it again, that those training classes we run, it's one of the things that I would say at the start, when you come to these events, walk over to us and have a chat with, we're all there to have a chat and welcome you, you know what I mean? And our secretary is Ivan McAllister there. He's really good at, because our sport isn't typically a spectator sport, because you could be in woods or whatever in trials, but he tries to get fellas up to the front of the line as much as possible, new lads, give them a job carrying a bag or whatever, so that they get to see what's going on, and hopefully they'll come back with a dog.
Yes, to get the bug.
So like it's and look, there's other clubs throughout the country do this as well. I'm singling out North Tip, but there's the Working Spaniel Club of Ireland, English Springer Spaniel Club. You go up north, there's the Antrim Down. You know what I mean? So like there's good lads involved who want to grow the sport. And you're right, Brendan. There are individuals who don't.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been there. But look, I like to think hopefully it's moving on from that. You're always going to have those.
Yeah.
But we have to rise above it.
Yeah, well, I think as a whole, and I've said this a few times, we'd obviously work closely with a lot of different, firearms dealers and wholesalers and stuff. And I kind of getting a general consensus from a lot of people that there seems to be a lot more lads getting into hunting this year. Maybe not necessarily talking about gun dogs, but whether they're buying a rifle or they're, the deer licenses. I know 5 or 6 more people this year. And I'm not saying it's through the podcast, but I've heard of it through the podcast that have decided fucking I'm going after deer now. That weren't doing it this time last year. Do you know what I mean? So I think it is starting to pick up a bit, which is absolutely great.
Yeah, definitely is.
We keep championing it, and we keep plugging it, and we keep pushing it, guys. I think we're all in it together. Is the message? And
that's it.
Pat, we're truly honoured to have you on. I know you're. I think anyone that knows dogs around the country knows your name.
For one reason or another.
No, in a good way.
Good way.
I'd heard of you long before I'd met you and so on and so forth. So, your reputation precedes you. You're a true gentleman, and thanks a million for coming on the podcast. You've been
thanks for having me. Thanks. Sorry for cutting across you. Thanks for having me. And if there's questions come in, or if there's a need for another one at some stage, you know what I mean? Don't be
absolutely.
shy.
Absolutely, 100%, Pat. You're going to be our new resident gun dog guru.
just not during the winter.
Just exactly. Strictly before the hunting season. Pat, thanks a million again, and we'll be talking to you throughout the season. The best of luck with your 2 new pups coming along, and we'll be looking forward to hearing how you're getting on.
Yeah, thanks very much, lads, and the best of luck with the podcast as you go forward as well.
Thanks a million, Pat. You're just cheers.
Have a good one.
Thanks, lads.
Cheers. Bye. And we're back. That was the bow of Pat Brennan.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it, Brenny?
Very, very good, man. That man knows his stuff. No bullshit. I like Pat. There's just no bullshit about him. Just straight to the point. Just says it how it is. And an absolute wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, it puts things in perspective. I think I'm in a bit of bother with my dog. Unfortunately, my Springer is going to be the way he's going to be. But look, a few things to try and work on with him anyway.
But think of the plus side. If you ever get the Jeep stuck, he'll pull it out. He's and that. But I will say, one thing I definitely took from that is, I always thought it was it was either left or right, or it was black or white. It was, if your dog was gun shy, or do you know what I mean? If you let it bang it ran, that's it. It's game over like that. If a dog runs ahead of you, if you don't do it such a day, there's always room there. And one thing I got from what Pat was kind of saying there is it's circumstantial to everyone's dog, to the type of area that they hunt, to a load of things. So it's no such thing as
there's no such thing as a bad dog. Probably more so bad training, I think.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And there's dogs that are obviously better than others, but you know what I'm saying. There's I think it probably is, especially now. Where we're like, I was thinking about this today, Brenny. Where we don't get, you know, things happen, put things in perspective, all that kind of stuff. And you'd be thinking like, you know, time, and you were saying there about the hours of work and stuff like that as well. Similar enough, you'd be saying like, you know, fuck me, man, like you're already about to work in a week and a half, and the week's not over yet, you know. And like that's a fucking tough gig, and you're trying to keep family life. You know what I'm saying? There's a what I was trying to feed into there was, you know, in years gone by, times were probably tougher in that there wasn't obviously as much abundance, you know, of stuff, or you know, be it food or be it you know, toys, or you know, whatever. But there was enough, and then there was also more time. I think, you know, there was pace of life was fucking easier, and or it was more, not easier, but it was, you know, it was a dance to it, and I think people, you know, but I think the you know what I was getting from Pat there, obviously the time you need to spend with the dog is a huge thing. A lot of hunters now with the kind of level of work and stuff like that, it's very difficult to get that time, you know.
Yes,
it has to be a balance, doesn't there? It has to be a fucking balance, man.
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, man. Yep.
Can't keep going that fucking, you know, you relay to an 18650 battery, you know, there's only so much charge in there, you know what I'm saying, before the light will start to dim a little bit, and the torch ain't working. So I think fucking things in perspective, you know, try and ease up, try and make that time, get out and get working with the dog, and a few minutes now, you know, a day, you know, every second or third day even, would be far better than trying to get him out for fucking 2 hours the week before, to try and get some last minute fitness into him, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, him or her. Yeah, exactly. It's all about a bit of, you know, kind of preparation, and I think no truer statement that you know, you get out what you put in. You know, really, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, that is what you get out. You know. Yeah.
A few nice tips, like even for likes of Chase now. You nice tips there in around the garden. You can do a lot of work with him before he even fucking goes out. You know what I mean? So that's a kind of a positive as well, you know, from yours.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Without doubt. Yeah. So no, it was all positive. We will have him on again, because I'm sorry we didn't get through a quarter of the questions that we get sent in, but we'll definitely have him on again, 100%.
Yeah, no, it's very informative and really enjoyable. I think both you and I just said off air there, you didn't feel like we were in a conversation. It was just kind of like lads chatting, which is always a sign of a good chat. So hopefully people enjoy that. Yes. And if you do, we'll be bringing you more.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt. We're not really doing a Let's Talk Gear this week, because we want to do, we've loads of stuff there that we need to test, but we just, you know, with time constraints with the week we've both had, we didn't really get a chance to properly test anything. But I am going to talk a little bit about the much anticipated Howa 1500 Superlite that is now in my possession.
Oh man, it looks savage. I can't wait to see it. I've been looking and admiring it all week on the photos, and yeah, it looks fantastic. It's a model of a gun, isn't it?
It is, man. I absolutely love it. And like when I had seen it before, obviously I'd seen it loads of times, but when I had seen it before, it was just obviously the bare gun, and like we both spoke about how light it is. Like, it's ridiculously light. And even now, I've got the Tier 1 bipod on it. I've got the GPO 4x16x50 scope on it with my RCC moderator on it. It is still ridiculously light, which is nice.
Yeah. And look, I think that's exactly what you wanted, man. It's nailed on the tin. You were saying the scope as well. You were pushing out a few rounds over. Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were dialed in, man, and we were pushing it out to 600 plus. I'm very happy now. Just didn't get much time to do much with it, but I love it. I absolutely love it, man. I swear to God, I was like a child. You know, the whole one thing. It was like it was a fucker of a week. But the one thing that was getting me through it was I knew at some stage I was going to get to pick it up. So yeah, on my way home from work tonight, I swung in and passed Dom down in Highland Outdoors, and Tom had it all ready for me. And my God, he just had a chat with him, and he's a lad. I'm going to ask him. I know he listens to the podcast. I might ask him and see would he come on. He is a wealth of knowledge, man. The little things, little things he was kind of telling me that I never thought of. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. Here's one he taught me, and I just thought I could instantaneously see the benefits of it. Say you're pushing it. Say you have a target. Say your scope goes to 10 times magnification, just for argument's sake, right? And you are looking at a target at 200 yards. Yeah?
Yeah.
The eyesight maybe is not great or whatever. So what my initial thing would be, well, I'll crank it up to 10 because I can see the target a lot closer.
Yeah.
But you can also see movement a lot more. A tiny little bit of movement at that time, magnification can kind of throw you off. It seems more than it is, and you're trying to correct it. Whereas if you can kind of go back out to say 5 times magnification, the field of view is a lot more. So you can see more around you. It lets in more light. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So you're seeing it more in real time, in kind of, rather than looking at kind of a bigger animal with a smaller field of view. A small movement looks like a big movement in that freeze frame. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the impact. Like if you come out a little bit, you squeeze the trigger and you can see the impact. Like little things. He just gave me a couple of pointers and stuff, but
brilliant
wealth
stuff.
of knowledge. Done a fantastic job on the gun, and I cannot wait for the 1st September, man, to get out and put it through its paces. But yeah,
look, we'll be bringing the listeners plenty of updates. You're going out tomorrow night, so look, we'll keep everyone posted. The ups, downs, travails, trials, and I'm sure there'll be a few. Like you, I'll be out hopefully next week, so I'll be similar to that. We'll keep people posted, and it's brilliant. Actually, I think we mentioned it last week. With 2 completely kind of opposite, not opposite, but different setups. So it'll be for people who want to are thinking of either changing from one to the other or leaning towards one. It'll give them hunters an insight into the pros and cons of both, which is good. It's good.
Exactly. Hopefully. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah. So so that'll be coming up in the weeks to come up. There's a few things we want to touch on before we go. But one of those, I suppose, we want to touch on is, and we spoke about last week, we have gotten another good few messages in from people with this firearms.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's really getting to the point now, like, we're lucky, I suppose. It's been very much plain sailing for us lately, and it's it's great. We've some really good people working in our department, but that cannot be said for other parts of the country. And some of the stuff that's been asked of lads now is just borderline. I'd question the legality of it. Is to be perfectly honest with you, I think there's some of the stuff it just baffles me. It absolutely baffles me. Ross rang me the other day, and Ross is buying my 243 off me. And Ross wanted to ask me, he says, have you got the make, model, and it really certainly said serial number of the scope. I said, what are you talking about? He says, they wanted all the make, model, serial number of the scope. I says, did you put down that you're getting a thermal? No, he says, it's just, I ticked it for a scope, like an optics. I said, have you heard of that before? I didn't think that was a thing. Not for a normal scope. It isn't a thing. It's like, it's madness, man. It just baffles you what's going on.
Yeah, and it reinforces. They said they weren't doing anything until the review. I think. Look, we're going to call out again, but we will be chatting. Hopefully, Dan and Dan Curley maybe, and just passing a few of these to his way as well. I'm sure the NERGC are aware. But again, we need. Especially the guys who are getting these types of letters, go to your local gun clubs, go to your representatives in country sports or FUNI or NARGC, and get them to make submissions on your. I know For instance, I definitely know. I've no contact with anybody in Country Sports Ireland. But I know from the NRGC they will make submissions on your behalf. They will assist you. I definitely know with FUNI to be more than delighted to fight your corner on that and advise you. I know there's plenty of people in that organisation who have fought the law and won, as they say, in a good way in terms of court cases and previous and so on. So there's a wealth of knowledge there across all the groups. And I would be, from my perspective anyway, saying to people, get onto them and make sure that they help you fight this kind of poor enforcement of laws. They're not fecking there yet. You know what I'm saying? So that's the bones of it, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Again, any more, get them into us. If you're going through any particular, you don't have to put your name to it. But if you can, great. If you can tell us the district and bits and pieces like that, we'll compile them all together, and we'll certainly, it gives us all the more to barter with, you know.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, lads, we are going to touch on it. We'll probably do a whole kind of a podcast route. We want to get some answers, want to get some people on, but please keep the correspondence coming into us.
Yeah, look, I think maybe we'll have some representatives from Foregone, maybe, and some of the other bodies. We might even do a kind of a collective, maybe a 3 or 4 way or something like that. Get some insight into what's been done on our behalf, what we as hunters can do to help. So, like, you know, like these cases and stuff like that, these need to be reported. They can't be left just sitting. You know what I'm saying? In terms of just there, and we kind of go along with it. Need to be reported, and people need to. I know that the organisations will stand up and say, no, that's not a requirement. You know, a smoke is a fully it's illegal. It's illegal. I think there was another one there with a suppressor, wasn't it? That it was. Did I see that somewhere? The suppressor was given for maybe it was on one of the other forums, or it was one of ours, where suppressor was granted on a previous license, and then they informed them that he'd only have it for a year.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did see that, and they sent him out a letter to say, you know, we'll give it to you for a year, but we'll have to review it in 12 months' time. Like, who is coming up with this? Like, do you know what I mean? It's nonsense. It's just bananas, like, and it's bananas, and it goes back to that word that I always say is the key underlying issue, and it's the discretion. That word discretion is dangerous. There shouldn't be discretion. There should be legislation, and that's it. It's as simple as that. It's either black or it's white, or it's whatever way you want to call it. It's you know, it's straight down the line, and there's no room, because discretion can be dangerous one way or another. You know, so I'm not for that at all.
Hopefully over the next couple of weeks we'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll keep pushing the cause anyway, you know.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, absolutely, man. Come here, go for it.
I actually forgot. I got to do a small little bit of fishing this morning.
What? How do you forget that?
Yeah, well, the afternoon wasn't great, but the fishing was, when I say small, it was very small.
Okay.
I got wangled into a relative of mine wanted to start fishing, so I brought him into Wild Hunter, give him a look around and stuff like that. And what's his name? Jesus, we met him down in they're not terrible. This is live on air. In Wild Hunter, we met him. Remember, he invited us out fishing on the boat and stuff.
Oh God, yeah. I know. I know the man you're talking about. Yes, yeah.
But he, so kindly brought me around, and as you know, I've been tying with a beach fishing setup. So yeah, I just got a few small bits, got kitted out with a nice Shakespeare rod and a beach casting reel and a few bits and pieces. Had little or no success. I was just fishing with a double hook bomber, you know, 2-rig bomber, with a spiker weight, and yeah, kind of the wind was just fucking horrific, man, coming in off the sea. I couldn't even, you were trying to get, I was trying to wrap the dead bait was with stand eels,
Mm-hmm.
trying to wrap it with the elastic so, and the hook was blown, the free hook was blown, catching in me jumper, catching in me arm,
Oh,
catching me, you
Jesus
know what I'm
Christ.
saying? I was trying to get it was just one of them, and I like that. I'm only learning my fishing, so I learned how to reel my line. I got braided line and got it on the rig and set up a few traces and stuff like that. So yeah, had a nice did a bit of spinning with feathers and lost two of my traces with a lovely amount of seaweed. So that's fucking. But yeah, no, it was nice. I got an hour or so in, and then I had to jump back into work. But yeah, no, it was nice. And the guys, as I said, in Wild Hunter, fucking amazing. Walk me around. I got a little tripod as well. So yeah, I had visions of maybe doing that over the weekend, but I'm back up home Saturday evening, so. It'll be maybe next week I might get a bit of beach fishing in. So yeah.
Deadly, 100%, man. Yeah. Deadly stuff. Yeah, Giannis was down in Wild Hunter today. I think he got himself a couple of bits for the hunting season as well. Now, I'll tell you, I want to place a place that I was in it once. I'm going to go back over there next week, and just to, in the interest of fairness and just talking, we don't talk about we talk about gun shops and ammunition places and dealers which are close to us. We don't physically have time to visit ones. But there was a shop that I was in a couple of weeks ago. It was my first time in it, and I want to go back over. Fierce nice fella, and that is Neil in Kildare Hunting, which is over in Kildare town. Have you ever been over there?
No, but I know a couple of people who do frequent, and I think it was one of the trips. I think we tried to set up early doors when we started the podcast. So, yeah, good setup over there, Bernie.
Yeah, savage setup, man. Yeah, real. Like Niall is one of those lads. He knows what he's talking about. He's real, like, shooting orientated, and I talked to him for a couple of minutes, and there's not much that the man doesn't know, and he's a fantastic setup and lots and lots of stuff over there. So if you're in around I suppose the Kildare, Dublin area, or you just want to go and see it, head over to them. They've got a Facebook page and stuff. So yeah, you'll find where they are. Good sized store and plenty of stuff in it. So yeah, shout out to Niall in Kildare Hunting.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So what else? What have we coming up, Brenny? What are you doing for the coming week? Your plans? What's on the menu?
Well, we've loads of stuff, I suppose, coming up. I'm going to definitely get out tomorrow night. There's a couple of interesting people we kind of are earmarking to come on the podcast. Excuse me. We're going to have someone is going to come on and talk about butchery, breaking down a deer, what to look out for, without going too in depth to it. Do you know what I mean? Just to kind of like this, this is how you do it. And, just watch out for this, and away you go. And just kind of, we're going to try and keep that simple. We'll be diving back into the food and stuff. We are going to head down to, I just want to give him actually a shout out as well. Shane has invited us down. Shane, I'm brutal now. I'm telling you, I'm brutal with surnames. Is asked us to go down to, he has a gun range down in Sligo. Jesus Christ, man, my head is gone. I'm telling you, now I'm after doing about 8 hours this week. Shane Conlon, as they are running, him and his dad are running a target shooting facility down in Sligo, and we're going to head down there in the next couple of weeks. We're going to bring down the rifles, and we'll do a bit of zeroing, and there's a couple of bits and pieces. So we're definitely going to go down there. I'm opening it up to the floor, right? And this should be interesting what we get out. I haven't even said this to you yet. I'm thinking about getting into some rifle target shooting. I've done a little bit, and I thought I'd never fucking be into it, but I've done a little bit over the past while, just kind of pushing out distances and different things. And the more I do, and the more I read up on it, and the more videos I watch, and talking to some of the other ambassadors for Highland Outdoors and stuff, they're all obviously into it. They're fairly seasoned at it. I think it's something that I could fucking really get into, man. And I'm putting it out there. If it's something you do, give us a shout. how do we get started? Do you know? Just tell us a bit about it, what you're into, what your disciplines are.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
I think I told you before. I did it a couple of times. I was invited along to a few days where the guys have facilities for pushing out the steels and stuff like that. And yeah, I've used my own rifle, and I've been on ranges with others and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like it. I like it for a period of time. That's just me. I can see why people are really attracted to it. I've seen some of the rigs, and I've used some of the rigs in terms of the equipment, and it's just phenomenal, you know. And there's people that get I mean, it's almost like a religion, you know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
they'll know the velocities of each round, and you know, and the kestrels and the chronos, and it's a whole day, and I can genuinely see the attraction to it. Me personally, I love doing it for the couple of hours, and then I kind of start to wane a little bit. Now, that's just me.
Yeah.
But most definitely, I'd love to go down. We will most definitely go down to Shane. I think that'll be a fantastic day out. The whole experience, and a bit of crack, and obviously a bit of competition and all that kind of stuff is brilliant, you know.
Yeah, exactly, man. A bit of crack, yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
The lads, a couple of lads are taking part. I'm pretty sure, man. It's like qualifications for like the World Championship. I think it's on, actually, could be on this weekend in Tullamore. Shane Conlon, who you'll find him on Instagram there. He goes under Shooter's Instinct. I think you've seen him before.
Yeah.
Himself and Dean Farrell. Dean goes under, I think, Stock and Ventures and Gear. They're both taking part in it, and I think this will be qualifications for the World Championships. So just a massive shout out to the two lads. The best of luck to you. And
absolutely, lads. Send you all the best.
I don't know if there can only be one winner. I don't know which is I like more, but no, best of luck.
You're not first or last, lads. That's what I'm saying.
Shake a bake, lads.
The
best luck to you anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. Come here. Have you settled on your ammo?
I've had a look at a couple. I have had a look at a couple, man. I'm not going to tell you a lie. I've tried, what do we call them? Oh my God, my head today is gone. Hornady ELDXs.
Yeah.
Tried those. Very, very impressed with those. Tried Noslers, 140 grains. What else did I try? I tried a few of them there now. Yeah. I'm actually getting probably the best grouping I was getting was on the Noslers, 143 grain. I was getting the best group in them. The ELDXs now, in fairness, were kind of pushed out the distance a little bit with those. But I'm probably going to set up a target again here, give the barrel a good scrub and give it a good cleaning out. And I'm going to get down again, and I'll set it up at 200 yards, and I'll put a couple of rounds through it again and see what. But it was, again, that was another thing. It was an eye opener to me. The differences in the different rounds, grouping. Like there was one, and I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what ammunition it was, but they were consistently off, if that makes sense to you. Like they were an inch. If you were to draw a circle and just put one hole an inch apart every time, if that makes sense, do you know what I mean? So when people say, you know, they're talking about group, and now I know exactly what they're talking about. Yeah. And then we set, you know, I set up a couple of targets, and then you can see the group getting smaller, and then you look at the closest one, and it was actually with the Nosler. So I think we'll give them a go. What about yourself? You haven't really got to put out and through it yet, have you?
No. What I did is I actually picked up a couple of rounds of. So my plan is I have the EDLXs, obviously for the deer shooting. I'm hoping that's going to be my. I don't think you can go too far wrong with Hornady anyway, you know. But yes, I'm going to put them through. I'm going to probably zero the vortex with them. And then I picked up some Celio and Bello, just cheaper rounds for the foxing, because I ain't putting fucking €3 into a fox, man. And so yeah, I picked up a couple of boxes. They had no 100 grain, so I actually got 140 grain Celio and Bellows. I know it's people are going to say it's overkill. I know that, but it's, you know, but I got full metal jacket, Celio and Bellows. Then down in Wild Hunter today. So I got 2 boxes of them. I'm going to zero the pulsar on that. And as people know, I've a CWS rail coming for the Bergara, and then a set of Vino mounts, and I'm going to be able to switch it on and off. Hopefully, the theory is switch on and off the Vortex and the Digex wherever I need to do that. So if I'm going out foxing, I can pop on my Digex, and I'll have her zeroed profile set up for the 6.5 with the ammunition, and then I can pop her over onto the 2.2 hopefully with a different profile on that. So that is my plan. Now I will be letting people know how successful or unsuccessful that is. But right now that's the plan,
Deadly, absolutely deadly, man. Yeah. Sure. Look, I think what did you say the Ciliar umbrellas are about 33 or €4 a box?
Yeah, these were the full metal jacket ones, slightly dear. So yeah, but I think about 36.50 or €37 or something like that.
Yeah. Compared to your Hornadies or your Nozzlers are probably
63. Yeah. So no, I'll be reserving them for the bigger species.
Yeah. The ones you can eat.
Absolutely. You won't have that problem. You'll be switching over to 1.7, which is nice, as we discussed last week, and a nice cheap round for foxing and very effective. So you're all set. You're all set, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to get another box to them. So yeah, I would be saying to people, stock up on ammunition. There could be some shortages this year. Let's just stock up. Make sure that you're ready for the season. It's fast approaching, man. I can't wait. We're not going into too much detail or giving exact locations away. What province are you going to be in for the first?
Well, be in Leinster somewhere.
Leinster in summer, yeah.
Yeah, and like that. Look, I'll probably stay relatively close to home, if I can. But I think, look, if all else fails, there'll be a busload of us, I think, going to Wicklow maybe.
Yeah. Well, I actually might be going to Munster. So how's that for it?
On the first?
Might be. Yep.
Good man.
Might be.
Good
looking at down there for red, maybe.
Big red.
Maybe. Yeah. Could happen.
Right. Very interesting.
Could happen. It could happen. So we'll look into that. We better wrap it up, I suppose. I need to go to bed and get some much earned sleep, and so do you. And I'll get this will be hopefully going live tomorrow.
Before we just go, I want to say just a huge thanks to John Dougal there in Thomas Shack's, right? There was a bit of a mix-up with rails today, getting sent down. The mounts came yesterday. The rails were to follow today. John has gone out of his way to get me the rails. They don't source the rails themselves, but he found rails for me, and there was a mix-up. The wrong rails went down, and he got the Urbal Shinny up the north to look after it and get another set sent down today. So I'll have them tomorrow for zeroing on Monday. So thanks a million, John. You're a legend. Went like way beyond the Call of Duty, and I really appreciate it. So now I hope I can do you proud and put a couple of rounds in the same neighbourhood. But we'll let you know.
Yeah, indeed you will, lad. Yeah, indeed you will. No bother to you. No, 100%. The lads have always been kind of, since day one, they've always kind of helped us out and kind of got behind us and stuff like that. And absolute legends, as the fellow says.
Legends.
Exactly right. Well, listen,
get yourself to bed.
Well, man, my brain is just not working this evening at all. Do you know what I mean?
Just a normal Thursday, man. Just a normal Thursday.
It's all picture and no fucking sound. Like. Yeah. It's all picture and no sound. But Shinne, everyone, if you're heading out over the weekend, the best of luck. Be careful. Enjoy it. Send us on any correspondence. If you see any mad shit, get in contact. We love getting correspondence from people, so keep them coming.
Deadly stuff.
Over and out, buddy. Over and out. Have a good one.